When we cross the threshold of 50 years, life whispers a different truth to us. It is no longer about how much energy we can expend, but about how wisely we preserve and channel the energy that remains. Food, in this stage, ceases to be only fuel. It becomes medicine, a silent teacher, and sometimes the difference between decline and renewal. The question is not simply what should we eat, but what message are we sending to our body with each bite? The top 10 foods I will share today are not random additions to your plate. They are chosen because they speak the language of longevity. They nourish mitochondria, lower inflammation, protect against oxidative stress, and help regulate insulin, the silent marker of aging. If the years after 50 are to be lived with clarity, strength, and dignity, then each of these foods plays a role in that great endeavor. First, we must speak of leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula. These are not just low-calorie plants, they are biochemical factories filled with magnesium, folate, and antioxidants. They restore cellular energy and protect memory. Eating them daily is like sending a message of renewal to the brain and vascular system. Second, fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, or mackerel. Rich in omega-3 fats, they calm inflammation, support heart rhythm, and maintain the fluidity of cell membranes. These are not luxuries. They are building blocks of a mind that resists decline and a heart that beats steadily. Third, berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Nature designed them to be small but potent. Their polyphenols protect neurons from oxidative stress, keeping memory sharper and mood more balanced. They are nature's sweet promise that pleasure and health can coexist. Fourth, nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, chia, flax. Beyond the crunch lies a profound truth. They stabilize blood sugar, provide healthy fats, and contain compounds that turn on longevity genes. A handful of nuts each day is like an investment in future decades. Fifth, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. These vegetables contain compounds that help the body detoxify, protect against cancer, and regulate hormones that become unbalanced after midlife. Eating them is not simply about digestion, it is about preventing cellular chaos. Sixth, avocados. More than creamy fruit, they are rich in potassium and monounsaturated fats, supporting heart health and blood pressure regulation. They sustain satiety, preventing the sugar cravings that accelerate aging. Seventh, olive oil. Not just a cooking fat, but a profound symbol of Mediterranean longevity. It lowers inflammation, protects arteries, and enriches the brain. 1 tablespoon daily can shift the balance from degeneration to preservation. Eighth, legumes, lentils, beans, chickpeas. Rich in fiber and plant-based protein, they stabilize blood sugar and support gut health. A healthy gut is not trivial. It is the root system of vitality, immunity, and even mood stability. Ninth, eggs. So often misunderstood, they are complete packages of protein, choline for the brain, and fat-soluble vitamins that aid repair and regeneration. To exclude them is to neglect one of nature's perfect designs. And finally, the 10th, dark chocolate in its purest form, rich in flavonoids. It improves circulation, supports the brain, and reminds us that health is not about deprivation, but about wise enjoyment. My friends, notice that none of these foods are exotic, none require luxury or extravagance. They are simple, natural, and aligned with how the human body was meant to thrive. The secret is not in chasing endless supplements or miracle solutions, it is in realigning with nature's design. After 50, our body speaks more softly. It does not recover from insults as quickly. But if we choose wisely, we discover that aging is not decline, it is refinement. Each of these foods, when embraced not as a diet but as a philosophy, slows the clock of degeneration and awakens the timeless energy within. The real anti-aging secret is not hiding in a cream nor in a laboratory, but in the humble foods we place on our plate each day. Choose them wisely, eat them with gratitude, and allow the wisdom of nature to guide the wisdom of your years. When we talk about nutrition after 50, it is important to understand that it is no longer just about filling ourselves with calories to keep us going through the day. It is about harmony, aligning what we eat with the deeper rhythms of the body, which has already carried us through half a century of living. By this time in life, the body has accumulated both wisdom and wear. It has endured countless meals, some nourishing and others harmful. It has fought oxidative stress, coped with hormonal changes, and experienced the impact of lifestyle decisions. And now, as we age, the body asks us to listen differently. It asks us not to chase youth, but to sustain vitality in a way that matches our biology. This is where nutrition transforms from a matter of convenience into a matter of philosophy. Every bite we take is no longer about short-term pleasure. It is about signaling to the body what we expect of it in the years to come. Food carries information. It does not simply sit in the stomach like fuel in a tank. It interacts with cells, genes, and hormones. When we eat processed sugars, we send one kind of signal, telling the body to store fat, to inflame tissues, to accelerate aging. When we eat nutrient-dense anti-inflammatory foods, we send a completely different message, one that encourages repair, reduces oxidative damage, and keeps energy production efficient. The shift after 50 is not merely metabolic, but existential. We begin to ask, do we want the next decades to be lived in vitality or in decline? And the answer lies, in large part, in the choices we make at the dinner table. The beauty of aligning with the body's design is that the foods that support longevity are simple, natural, and deeply human. They are not new inventions, but ancient gifts: leafy greens, fatty fish, berries, nuts, seeds, and so forth. Each of them is not just a source of nutrients, but a messenger of life, gently guiding the body back to balance. By eating them consistently, we do more than fight disease. We respect the wisdom of the body's original blueprint. To understand this is to shift from seeing food as entertainment to seeing it as a dialogue with our future. At 50, every year becomes precious. The margin for neglect grows smaller, but the potential for growth becomes even greater. Proper nutrition is not about fearing age, but about embracing it with grace. It is about recognizing that the body, though older, is still capable of extraordinary renewal when given the right tools. The foods we choose can literally rewrite the script of how we age, slowing the hands of time not in vanity, but in service to clarity of mind, strength of body, and peace of spirit. Thus, nutrition after 50 is not just about survival, it is about aligning with nature's intent and creating a foundation for a life of vitality, wisdom, and dignity. The foods we choose to eat after 50 should never be thought of as mere substances that fill the belly or satisfy hunger for a short while. They are much more profound than that. They act as biological signals, whispering instructions to our cells, our hormones, and even our genetic expression. Every nutrient, every compound carries information that influences how the body will function today, tomorrow, and years from now. The process of aging is not simply the passage of time. It is, in large part, the accumulation of cellular damage, oxidative stress, and metabolic imbalances. When we eat foods that are high in refined sugars, processed oils, and artificial additives, we tell the body to store fat, create inflammation, and accelerate degeneration. But when we choose foods that are rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, and phytonutrients, we give the body the opposite message: repair, regenerate, and protect. This is why the right foods have anti-aging properties beyond what we can see on the surface. They influence insulin sensitivity, and this is crucial because insulin resistance is one of the strongest drivers of premature aging. Elevated insulin levels quietly damage blood vessels, impair brain function, and erode the body's ability to heal. But foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, Cruciferous vegetables and berries help regulate insulin, keeping the body's energy systems balanced and sustainable. In this sense, food is no longer just food, it is communication with life itself. When we pass the age of 50, the body becomes more sensitive to these signals. What we could tolerate in our 20s or 30s now carries heavier consequences. A night of overeating sugar or processed food might not just mean a temporary discomfort, it could accelerate joint pain, impair memory, or disrupt sleep. But in the same way, choosing nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods yields benefits that compound over time. This stage of life, therefore, becomes a time of responsibility, a time to recognize that every choice carries weight. Psychologically, this realization is liberating rather than restrictive. It means that we are not victims of aging, nor are we helpless before the ticking clock. We are active participants in the quality of our later years. The foods we eat can strengthen immunity, support brain health, keep the arteries flexible, and preserve muscle mass. They are not just delaying decline, they are rewriting the trajectory of aging itself. The deeper truth is that these foods align us with nature's original design. They are not modern inventions, but gifts that humanity has always had. The problem was never that our bodies were designed to age poorly. The problem is that we often fail to provide them with what they truly need. By respecting this design, by feeding the body with foods that send signals of life, we honor both the biology we are given and the future we hope to live. In this way, eating after 50 becomes not only nourishment, but an act of wisdom. When people hear the word anti-aging, they often imagine creams, cosmetic procedures, or external tricks to disguise the passage of time. Yet the truth is that real anti-aging has very little to do with appearance and everything to do with what is happening inside the body. True longevity begins with metabolic health, with the capacity of our cells to repair themselves, with the ability of the body to resist inflammation, and with the preservation of energy at the most fundamental level. Aging is not merely a matter of wrinkles or graying hair. It is the gradual breakdown of cellular processes. It is the accumulation of damage that overwhelms the body's natural ability to heal. Thus, the foods we eat become central to the question of whether we accelerate this decline or whether we slow it down and allow the body to remain resilient. Oxidative stress is one of the key drivers of aging. Every breath we take and every calorie we burn produces free radicals, unstable molecules that damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. When the balance between free radicals and antioxidants tips in the wrong direction, the result is faster aging. This is where nutrient-rich foods become powerful allies. Berries, leafy greens, nuts, and cruciferous vegetables are packed with antioxidants that neutralize free radicals before they cause irreversible harm. They provide a shield at the cellular level, ensuring that the body has the resources it needs to maintain integrity and repair damage. Inflammation is another silent accelerator of aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation is linked to heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. Unlike the acute inflammation that heals a wound, chronic inflammation lingers, draining vitality from the body. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids such as salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds help calm this internal fire. They send a message of peace to the immune system, reminding it to protect rather than attack. By reducing inflammation, these foods extend not just the length of life, but the quality of it. Then there is the matter of insulin regulation. After 50, many people develop some degree of insulin resistance, a state where the body struggles to manage blood sugar efficiently. This not only increases the risk of diabetes, but also accelerates cellular aging. Choosing foods that stabilize blood sugar, like legumes, whole vegetables, and healthy fats, prevents the dangerous spikes and crashes that wear down organs and tissues. The more balanced our insulin levels, the more stable our energy, mood, and long-term health become. The anti-aging process is therefore less about fighting nature and more about aligning with it. When we provide the body with nutrients that encourage repair, reduce inflammation, and protect against oxidative damage, we are not defying aging, we are respecting the design of life itself. We accept that time moves forward, but we choose to move with it wisely, ensuring that every year brings not just survival, but vitality. True anti-aging is not about pretending we are young. It is about giving ourselves the gift of strength, clarity, and grace in the years that matter most. Wisdom after 50 is the realization that life is not infinite, and that the quality of the years we have left becomes more important than the sheer number of them. In our youth, we often eat and live as though tomorrow is guaranteed, and the consequences of our choices will never catch up with us. But after 50, the body reminds us that the margin for error has grown smaller. Energy does not rebound as quickly, recovery from stress takes longer, and habits formed over decades reveal their true impact. It is in this stage of life that food choices become more than daily decisions. They become long-term investments that shape the way we experience our remaining decades. What we eat at this point has the power to determine whether we grow older with vitality or sink gradually into dependency and decline. The foods we put on our plate are not just nutrients, they are the architects of our future health. By choosing wisely, we can prevent many of the chronic conditions that rob people of joy in later years: diabetes, heart disease, cognitive decline, and frailty. By neglecting these choices, we allow degeneration to creep in unnoticed until it takes away our independence. The realization that our diet is a form of destiny can be sobering, but it can also be deeply empowering. This is not simply a biological truth, but a psychological and philosophical one. After 50, food is no longer about indulgence or about living for the next taste of pleasure. It is about cultivating a deeper respect for the body and for the gift of time itself. It is about realizing that every meal is a conversation with our future self. When we choose leafy greens over processed food or fish over fried snacks, we are not just making a choice for today. We are speaking to the person we will be 10 years from now, ensuring that person has energy, clarity, and strength. This perspective transforms eating from a routine into an act of wisdom. The beauty of this truth is that it does not require perfection, nor does it demand rigidity. It requires consistency, mindfulness, and reverence for the body's needs. It means seeing food not as entertainment or distraction, but as a way to honor life. This shift is not only physical, but deeply psychological, because it acknowledges the responsibility we carry for our own well-being. We can no longer blame genetics, circumstances, or age itself. Instead, we recognize that with every meal, we hold in our hands the tools to either accelerate aging or to slow it down and live with vitality. In this way, nutrition after 50 becomes a philosophy of living. It asks us to live not for the fleeting satisfaction of today, but for the lasting dignity of tomorrow. It challenges us to be wise stewards of the body, to nurture it with gratitude rather than neglect, and to understand that the greatest luxury in later years is not wealth, but health. The top 10 foods that support us after 50 are often spoken of as if they are magic bullets, as though simply eating them will erase all the consequences of time. But this is a misunderstanding. These foods are not quick fixes or secret potions. They are pillars, foundations upon which a greater structure of health must be built. Alone, they cannot carry the burden of vitality, but when combined with movement, rest, purpose, and mindful living, they create the conditions in which the body can thrive. The mistake many people make is to isolate food from lifestyle, to imagine that blueberries or salmon can undo decades of neglect while sleep is sacrificed, stress is unchecked, and physical activity is abandoned. Food is powerful, but its power is magnified when it is part of a holistic philosophy of living. When we eat nutrient-rich foods, we are aligning ourselves with nature's design. But alignment is not just about nutrients, it is about rhythm. The body thrives when there is consistency, when we eat with balance, when we rest deeply, when we expose ourselves to sunlight, and when we keep the mind engaged with meaning. The top 10 foods: leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, berries, cruciferous vegetables, olive oil, avocados, legumes, eggs, and even dark chocolate, become tools within this larger symphony. They are notes in a melody that must be played with harmony. If one note is missing, the music can still exist, but when played together with intention, they create something beautiful and enduring. The philosophical lesson here is that food is not everything, but food is essential. It is the starting point, the most tangible way in which we interact with the environment and give instructions to our body. Yet we must not forget that stress, loneliness, and lack of movement can undo much of the good food provides. A person may eat perfectly, but without peace of mind, their body will still generate inflammation and oxidative stress. Conversely, a person who eats wisely and also cultivates joy, purpose, and connection will find that the benefits of these foods multiply. Therefore, we must see these foods as pillars rather than miracles. They provide structure, stability, and resilience. They protect the body from breakdown, but they do not exempt us from the responsibility of care. The anti-aging properties they hold are real, but they only express themselves fully when the body is given the conditions to use them. Eating broccoli while living in chronic stress is like planting seeds in barren soil. The potential exists, but the environment must support growth. At 50 and beyond, the goal is no longer indulgence or reckless living. The goal is wholeness. By embracing these foods as part of a larger commitment to health, we honor both body and mind. We acknowledge that aging is not an enemy but a teacher, guiding us toward balance. In this way, the top 10 foods are not just dietary choices. They are symbols of a philosophy that values life, respects the body, and seeks vitality through harmony rather than shortcuts.